In Melbourne's inner east, Malvern is a prestigious suburb with very stable property values. Its proximity to Toorak, along with excellent transport and education, allows old money and the new rich to coexist harmoniously. Malvern has 2 train stations and 4 tram lines passing through it, plus several major arterial roads, making transport very convenient. This has led to more subdivision and development, with houses making up only 46%. Under Victoria's activity centre plans, 80% of Malvern falls within the development zone. This will lead to significant population growth in Malvern over the next 20 years. From 10,000 now, it's projected to reach 15,000 by 2046, a 50% increase. This rate is very high for the city of Stonington. Historically, Malvern's growth has been shaped by 2 intertwined forces. First, the high-end housing demand spilling over from Toorak's wealth. Second is the capacity provided by the continuous expansion of the rail and tram systems. Looking at a micro-regional analysis, Malvern can be divided into 7 areas. Area 1 is the section closest to Toorak and also the most expensive. With its high elevation, large blocks and lush oak-lined avenues, it directly absorbed the high-end housing demand from Toorak after 1850. With the rapid development of Toorak, Area 1 quickly became a favourite for the wealthy. At that time, Malvern was seen as a paradise on the heights. Many large private estates were built during this period, the most iconic being Stonington Mansion, built in 1890. From 1901 to 1931, while Melbourne was the federal capital, it served as the governor of Victoria's residents. During this time, it became the pinnacle of Melbourne's social and political power. This drove the gentrification of the surrounding area, attracting many political and business elites. Numerous Federation and Edwardian mansions appeared, most of which are now protected by heritage overlays. It's very convenient to top private schools in South Yarra, Toorak and Hawthorn, such as Melbourne Grammar, Lauriston, St Catherine's and Scotch. This further stabilises the high-end housing demand here. Famous streets in this area like Mayfield Avenue, Chesterfield Avenue and Somers Avenue are the absolute pinnacle of Malvern. In the future activity centre development, this is one of the few areas in Malvern that remains unaffected, helping to preserve its character of grand estates. Area 2 is the part of Malvern most influenced by transport. Taronga Station, the Malvern Road tram line and the Monash Freeway have greatly enhanced the area's accessibility. The commercial precinct at the intersection of Taronga and Malvern Roads also adds significant convenience. Overall, life here is quite convenient, though some streets have steeper slopes and the elevation is relatively lower. It's also affected by highway noise, so house prices are relatively cheap. In the currently planned Victorian Activity Centre construction, this area will be within the scope of the activity centre, and increased residential height and density will be inevitable. Area 3 is Malvern, a top-tier residential area second only to Area 1. Since most residences in this area are not under heritage protection, there are relatively more modern buildings here. Plus, it's a moderate distance from shopping districts, parks and libraries, and there are good public and private schools. The terrain is also flatter. In terms of living convenience, it's actually even better than Area 1. There are several small short streets here, for example. They are all very prestigious streets. Australia's longest-serving Prime Minister, Robert Menzies, lived on Haverbrack Avenue for 12 years after retiring. Area 4 has smaller land parcels compared to Area 3. The environment is also relatively crowded, and the streetscape lacks the charm of tree-lined boulevards. In terms of living experience, it's slightly inferior to Area 3, but overall it's still very good. The main landmark of Area 5 is Cabrini Hospital. This large private hospital was renovated and expanded from an Italian-style estate with thousands of staff and doctors. Currently, the hospital is still expanding. Most streets in Area 5 are affected by hospital facilities and medical services, which to some extent impacts the living experience, but this area's starting point was actually very high. In the original land subdivision contracts, many houses had numerous restrictions, such as prohibiting timber-framed houses, allowing only 1 residence per lot, and a minimum construction cost of £600. These restrictions have kept the streetscape well preserved, leading to many homes being covered by heritage protection. Area 5 is close to the Glenferrie Road shopping strip and Malvern Central. It's also near multiple tram lines, making life very convenient. Looking at future development, this entire area is within the Activity Centre's construction scope. Notably, Area 6 was not included in the Activity Centre's scope, and this small area has no heritage protection. However, many houses have a neighbourhood character overlay, which still places certain restrictions on subdivision and development, so overall, there aren't many modern buildings. Additionally, because it's relatively far from the shopping strip and Malvern Central, it's not as convenient as other blocks. Area 7 was one of the first areas to develop under the catalyst of public transport. Malvern Railway Station currently has 3 train lines stopping there, making it a very convenient transport hub. At the end of last year, the opening of the metro tunnel allows the train line at Malvern Station to bypass the City Loop, which is very convenient for families commuting to the CBD or with children attending Melbourne Grammar or Wesley College. In addition, this area also has tram lines on Glenferrie Road and Wattletree Road, making the transport advantages very obvious. Regarding shopping, Malvern Central is located at the junction of Malvern and Armadale, featuring David Jones and Woolworths, as well as a variety of street-side shops, so life in the western part of this area is very convenient. Of course, due to the transport convenience, there are more apartments and units near the train station, but the overall streetscape of the area remains very consistent. Almost all of it is subject to heritage protection restrictions. In the current activity centre development, this area is also almost entirely covered. That's our JL Property micro area breakdown for Malvern. Hope it's helpful.